Hey Team Bio, welcome back to your first screencast post March Intensive. Hope you all had fantabulous weeks doing whatever it is you did. Okay, so today in class we talked about the structure of a leaf, and you probably never could have imagined how complicated a typical dicot leaf actually is. And today's screencast is going to be pretty short. We're going to be focusing in on the structure of the chloroplast itself. So remember, the chloroplast is this little organelle within plant cells that is performing photosynthesis. So all these tiny little dark green dots here are all signifying chloroplasts. We see tons of them in the palisade mesophyll because this is the primary site of photosynthesis, but we also see them in the spongy mesophyll. So this screencast is going to be talking a little bit about a lot about the structure and a little bit about the function of the chloroplast, the organelle responsible for photosynthesis. Okay, so to start out, notice that the chloroplast has three membranes. This membrane is called, shockingly, the outer membrane. Because it is the outermost membrane of the chloroplast. And this membrane here is called the inner membrane. It is interior to the outer membrane, but it's actually not the innermost membrane of the chloroplast, so maybe that name is a little confusing. So the outer membrane and the inner membrane are both lipid bilayers. So if you were to zoom in on this outer membrane, you'd see a layer of phospholipids on this side and a layer of phospholipids on this side, and it would be, again, a fluid mosaic model. So there would be studded with proteins and maybe sugar groups on those proteins, and everything would be moving around. And same is true of the inner membrane. And also same is true of this membrane here, but we'll get to that in a second. Okay, the space in between the inner membrane and this, actually, I guess I should just give it a name. Okay, this membrane right here is called the thylakoid membrane system, or TMS. THYLAKOID, thylakoid membrane system. And the thylakoid membrane system, you'll notice, is highly folded. Now, the reason for this is that this is the membrane upon which, or in which, all of the reactions, the light-dependent reactions of photosynthesis are going to take place. And as you remember, as you increase the volume of something, or as you increase the size of something, the surface area to volume ratio decreases as the thing gets bigger and bigger. And so in order to maximize surface area to volume ratio, the TMS, the thylakoid membrane system, is highly folded. So we have tons of surface area, tons of membrane upon which these reactions that are important in the process of photosynthesis can take place. So that's an important idea here. The reason why this thylakoid membrane system is so folded. Okay, which brings me back to this area of the chloroplast is kind of like the cytoplasm of the chloroplast, and it's called the stroma. S-T-R-O-M-A. Do not confuse stroma with stomata. They sound very similar, and one of you will confuse them. Multiple of you will mix this up, and then we'll all, I don't know, point and laugh. No, we won't do that, but they sound very similar. I didn't name it. I'm sorry about it. The stroma is the jelly-like fluid in between the inner membrane and the thylakoid membrane system, and the stomata, oops, didn't mean to erase that, is, or the stoma, which one is plural and which one is singular? I forget. I have to look that up for class tomorrow. Anyway, they are not, I think stomata is the singular version of stoma, which is multiple stomata. Not the same thing as the stroma. which is this jelly-like fluid in between the inner membrane and the thylakoid membrane system. Okay, enough of that. So let's dive into talking about the structure of the thylakoid membrane system. A single kind of jelly-like, so this membrane is one continuous membrane. If you trace it around, you'd find eventually you'd get all the way back to the beginning. So a little disc of one section of the thylakoid membrane system is called, maybe not surprisingly, a thylakoid. A big stack of lots of little thylakoids all together. Oh, I want to move this. Sorry. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Come on, straight line tool. A big stack of these guys, of all these little jelly donuts, is called a granum. Granum. The connector bits, so like these skinny bits that connect one granum to another granum, are called lamella. And the space inside the thylakoid membrane system is called the lumen. Okay, so I think that's actually it for the structure of the chloroplast. So we're going to be focusing in the next few days on the light-dependent reactions, the parts of photosynthesis that are dependent on the light in order to happen. And again, I said it before, I'll say it one more time, those reactions are happening in the thylakoid membrane system, and so we need to maximize the surface area by folding this structure in order to get as much light-dependent reaction as possible. Okay, that's the structure of the chloroplast, and I'll see you all in class tomorrow.